All right, welcome to Spark It Up Sports, your one-stop shop for all things football. I'm Big Steve.
And I'm Johnny.
We're coming to you from Pacific Beach in separate locations. Last time we talked about the first day of the combine. It was the D tackles, edge, and linebackers. Today we're going to be talking about the next 3 days, the defensive backs, tight ends, running backs, quarterback receivers, lastly, the offensive line. What are your initial thoughts on the overall combine from this last weekend?
Hey, great athletes out there. Definitely not the same standard or same level that we've been used to. Definitely saw a little bit of a decrease in the level of athleticism, but they're all still great athletes. They're all still putting their names down there, and they're all about to be NFL players.
Yeah, one thing I did notice this year is I felt like a bunch of the top guys did not participate at all, which was kind of disappointing because it felt like in every group there were a bunch of players that were not. They were in their street clothes or whatever, so you always want to see the top guys out there, but you understand why they didn't do it. They're saving it for the pro day, which is like another thing before the draft is we got to keep an eye on is these pro days that are going to be coming up. Because the notable guys that didn't do it at the combine are going to do it at the pro day.
Yeah, absolutely. Who are a couple DBs that actually ended up standing out for you?
All right, so the DBs, the best guy out of that group was Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky. He ran a, 4.28 40. I think he had the fastest 40 in the entire combine.
Real good. Definitely all combine defensive team player.
Yeah, definitely. Crushed it.
My favorite. Go for it.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite was definitely Darian Porter out of Iowa State. Definitely one of the fastest kids out there. Ran a 4.3 40, had a 1.49 10-yard split. 131-inch broad jump, 36.5 vertical jump, and a 6.71 split on the three-cone drill. Kid's an exceptional athlete, real fast. Definitely looks to be one of the most surprisingly athletic, explosive guys out there.
Yeah, definitely good to see him out there crushing it. Another guy for me was the safety, Nick Emanwari out of South Carolina, 6'3", 220 pounds, ran under a 4.4 at 4.38, which I absolutely zoom in. And did you see his vertical jump, 43 inches?
Absolutely. Vertical and a broad jump, 11.5 feet. Kids jumping fucking rivers and lakes.
Fucking out the gym, out the football field or stadium, I don't know, whatever the hell you call it.
Absolutely.
But I think the most impressive thing I saw out of all the testing was his vertical jump. At 43 inches at his height and weight, absolutely jumping out the gym.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Blend of size and speed definitely going to make him a first-round pick.
Right?
Another
take a chance on him.
Absolutely. Another one of my standout guys here was Marquez Sigel out of Kansas State. Sigel recorded the fastest 40 among the safeties, 4.37. Over 2 seasons at Kansas State, he's amassed 123 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 4 interceptions, showcasing his playmaking abilities.
Damn.
Right? Great numbers for the
Crushed
kid.
it. All right, let's move on from the defensive backs onto the tight end group. The tight end group was actually stacked this year, but the dude from Penn State, Tyler Warren, he did not participate in this at all.
Look for him
that was kind of disappointing to see.
Look for him to surprise a lot of people in his pro day. After all, he was the entire Penn State offense this entire year, so look for him to make big moves.
I think my favorite thing out of the tight end group is you coming out saying, like, oh, he ain't going to touch Brock Bowers, and, like,
hey.
He doesn't stand a chance. But the thing about Brock Bowers is he's like a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent after what we saw last year, so...
Hey, Brock Bowers did everything that was asked for him. Tyler Warren hasn't proved anything yet, so. My
I
stand
understand.
still.
I know it's funny that you're hating on him though already, but like
I'm not
your
hating
tight
on him.
end
I'm just
is
saying that he's.
is the best tight end that we've ever seen.
I wasn't hating on him. I was just saying that it's way too early to say that he's gonna be even close to comparable as Brock Bowers when he had nowhere near the same career as him.
His numbers were way better stat wise. He definitely was not as good of a blocker though.
Definitely not.
I do want to see what his 40-yard dash was because Brock Bowers' 40 was unbelievable, and I'm not sure if Tyler Warren has that kind of speed.
I don't think he has the same kind of athleticism, to be honest. Brock Bowers looked like a separate player out there.
We didn't see anything out of the combine from him, so that would have been great to see because then you can compare what Brock Bowers did to what he did, but unfortunately we don't have that.
Absolutely. So my favorite tight end was definitely Mason Taylor out of LSU, son of Jason Taylor, former NFL pro. Definitely showcased a lot of size, athleticism, and he's definitely ready to be a playmaker at the next level.
Yeah, he did not run the 40-yard dash. If you saw him run the gauntlet drill, he was the best player out of any position to run the gauntlet. He was straight down the 30-yard line, did not move at all, caught them all. He needs work on blocking if you saw him do the sled drill. But yeah, overall, he looked like the best tight end in that group for sure, as athletic-wise and catching-wise for sure. Another guy that stuck out to me was Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. 6'5", 247 pounds, ran a 4.6 340, which is zooming for tight ends, and a 39-inch vertical. He had soft hands with great body control when he was going out for passes, so he was awesome to watch out there too.
Absolutely. A lot of guys had this guy as a second day, third round late guy. Hopefully now he's moved himself into a second round guy. Another last guy rounding out these tight ends is going to be Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. If you remember him from earlier this season, watching a couple Maction games, he was huge. He was athletic.
Yeah.
Great player. He definitely impressed a lot of scouts this past week. Great athletic ability, highlighting his potential as a dynamic tight end in the NFL. And combine results are definitely going to contribute to possibly a first-round pick.
Yeah, and when you say dynamic, that means he's going to be a good pass catcher, and he cannot block. Because when he went up against that sled, the sled won, and it was not good. So, but as far as like going out and catching and getting wide open in the passing game and catching those hard balls, like those hard balls, he's definitely going to be able to do that.
Hey.
So, yeah, he was awesome to see. One guy is Gunnar Helm out of Texas. I don't know if you saw this, but he tested terribly, and his position drills were awful. But when I went back and was like looking him up, his very first take on the 40-yard dash, he stumbled and rolled his ankle.
Ooh.
And then he like continued the entire day with a rolled ankle. And if you see the picture of his ankle like at night, it is so black and blue. And it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, because he looked terrible out there. And it's like, if you do that at the combine, just get out and wait for your pro day.
Yeah, one of the notes on Gunnar Helm is he is actually one of the greater blocking tight ends out of the entire group. So look for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely, look for him to definitely make a jump in this draft.
Oh yeah, I think his pro day numbers are going to be way better once he gets that ankle healed up.
Absolutely.
Sure. All right, let's move on to the running back position. This was Saturday. Saturday was a full slate of combine. It was running backs followed by quarterback and receivers. The thing that stuck out to me in this running back position is they're all running 4.4s.
Yeah.
They're all flying out there, like one after another. There were a couple 4.3s too.
Couple 4.3s.
The most noticeable one is Bashul Tuten out of Virginia Tech. You didn't really hear much about him before this combine, but he ran a 4.3 240. It was the fastest among running backs. His on-the-field drills, he had the elite speed in there, and his lateral quickness could be a little better, but that top-end speed, he's not going to be able to get caught.
The only thing surprising from him is he's only 206 pounds, so hopefully he puts on a little bit of weight before he gets to the next level.
Dog, if you run a 4.32, you're not going to be more than 206 pounds.
True. But I'd like to see him put on.
That's not even that light. That's not even that light.
I mean, if you look at him, he looks like a little scrawny guy. And looking at him on TV, he was looking a little bit small. My favorite was Jaden Blue out of Texas. Had a 4.3840, only this is 1/10 of a second slower than Bai Schultuten. But Blue showcased his impressive speed. Great name.
All combine name.
Great name. Ranking second amongst running backs at his position, his performance caught the attention of scouts looking for an explosive playmaker at the next level.
Yeah, he was good to see. I also liked Quinshan Judkins out of Ohio State. They were a two-back team last year. Travion Henderson, he was also at the combine, but he didn't do all the on-the-field drills. He ran a 4.48 second 40, and he was excellent in the pass-catching drills, which if I'm getting a running back, you got to be able to catch too for me. His routes were really good, and he showed natural hands out there. I mean, I would like to see him maybe as a Chicago Bear, the way he can catch out the backfield.
Absolutely. Quinshan Judkins is going to be one of those middle-of-the-pack running backs. Any team that's looking for a second or third round pickup, look for Quinshan Judkins to bolster that backfield.
I feel like there's a lot of good backs that you can get late in this draft.
Absolutely.
I mean, that seems like the MO. There's not really a top 10 running back in my opinion in this draft like there has been in past drafts.
That's the thing a lot of people are talking about. Do teams end up making that jump for like a player like Ashton Genty, who was one of the top running backs this year, but is he worth wasting a top 8 pick on him, top 10 pick?
If I'm the Bears, I don't take him at 10.
I agree.
I think you wait and you get someone later because they're all flying, they're all fast. So
I agree.
I did hear some stuff about Caleb Johnson out of Iowa for the Chicago Bears, but he did not perform that well in the combine. So we look for him to have a better pro day when they do that. So,
all right, quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks. I don't really have much on the quarterbacks except they all suck.
Hey, I got some because fucking they definitely did not all suck. All right, Jackson Dart, definitely the best quarterback out of the group.
Right, but I mean, like, what he's going to be for the only other first rounder, maybe.
I mean, the thing right now, basically, what they're saying is Cam Ward solidified himself as number 1. Shador and Jackson Dart are basically fighting for number 2. There was a lot of teams that were polarized by the fact that Shador wasn't answering questions or made a lot of comments while he was there. So there is a possibility.
I can't believe people are surprised by that.
I mean, I brought this up a while ago. I knew it was going to be knew it was going to happen, and
I can't believe people are surprised that it's happening.
But can Jackson Dart make that move, make himself a number 2 over Shador?
He possibly could, depending on how the rest of these interviews go. But, I mean, as far as Shador goes, like, I'm not surprised coming out of these interviews how he acted or how they're saying he
No, absolutely. Like, son of Dion.
I know, right? If anything, I feel like that's good for it. Would you take him as the Raiders?
So basically,
or are you torn on him?
I'm super torn right now, just because I want to know how the free agency, the interviews, and I want to know are they going to make a move during the free agency? I'm glad they got this Max Crosby contract out of the way, so now they know what money is in front of them and where they can spend it. So I'm glad about that.
You know, Brady wants a quarterback.
Absolutely, but
what do you think Tom Brady would give up for a good quarterback for the Raiders?
I mean, at this point, I don't think we really need to give up too much because we have a lot of stuff in front of us.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, what if he could give anything up in his life for the Raiders to have, like, a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
Hey, he already gave up his wife to win a Super Bowl. I mean, the guy would probably give his life for a fucking...
Right? He would give up anything.
All right, but Jackson Dart, definitely the best performing quarterback out of the entire combine. Great deep throw.
Oh yeah,
Exceptional deep throw strength and accuracy. Has a great deep ball. Was hitting everybody in stride. He was the only one that was doing that. Every other player was throwing behind or under. Another guy that surprised was Brady Cook out of Missouri. Definitely a steady and consistent performer.
He had a great combine.
Absolutely. He was the most consistent out of all the quarterbacks. Definitely garnering a lot of attention from teams seeking a dependable quarterback. May not be a starter right out of the gate, but definitely a career backup, something like that.
Yeah, he might even go undrafted, but he did have a great combine. It's funny that only 3 quarterbacks ran in the combine.
I mean, there were
ran in the 40s.
Hey,
yeah, they don't need him to
it's
run
not their
40s.
specialty. Not their specialty.
He was one of them though, because he like was an undrafted free agent prediction, and so he went out there and he did all the drills. Because for him, it's gonna help him, but all the other guys,
it can only
not
build.
So much. He ran a 4.59 too, which was not
bad at all. Another impressive guy out there was Quinn Ewers out of Texas. They had Sarkisian on doing a lot of commentary during it, so hearing Sarkisian comment on the whole Quinn Ewers Arch Manning situation was hilarious. But watching him talk about his quarterback, Quinn Ewers, who had a great season, even though he had Arch Manning sitting right on his ass the entire year. Good for him.
Quinn Ewers came out too, and he said he does not go to college for school. He goes to play football.
That was hilarious.
Quoting the great Cardale Jones. And he was at Ohio State for a while, so it all makes sense. Cardale probably literally told him that when he was there.
But Quinn Ewers definitely made a name for himself, making him maybe a late second rounder, early third round pick for the draft.
Yeah, it's just such a bummer that this draft class is not that good when it comes to quarterbacks. Compared to like the class before. There's just not many good quarterbacks out there.
Yeah. One of the surprising things was Shedeur Sanders really getting negative reviews out of the top 2 picks, Tennessee and Cleveland. Both of them very polarized by him.
I mean, he's going to go to the Raiders.
I mean, that's one of the things was I was reading is the reason he's like being such an ass in these interviews is because he kind of wants to fall naturally to the 6th position so that they don't have to trade up.
Everything they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. And the more and more I read about it, just the more calculated it sounds.
It's going to be a bust. No. I think he's going to be better in the league. I really do. He's been around the NFL his entire life. So.
I'm just interested in seeing how he's doing coached by someone that's not his dad. That's the big question for me.
I think he'll be all right. You don't have a choice in the NFL.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he played Pop Warner for his dad. He played high school for his dad. He played college for his dad. Like, it's kind of different when you've never played for another coach.
Right.
All right.
I think, like, his understanding of the game, though, is going to be very valuable to him. But you're right. I mean, he 100% could be a bust if he goes to the Raiders.
I mean, be a bust with any team, not just the Raiders.
I know. I just had to say the Raiders. I had to throw it out there. All right, let's move on to the wide receivers. Just like a couple of the other groups, this was like not a bunch of good players out there. Kind of some mediocre ones, I would say. The guy, what was the dude's name from Texas? He said he was going to break the record.
Golden.
Yeah, and he ended up running one of the, not slower, but he was right in the middle of the pack. Wasn't even close to breaking the record. The fastest player for the wide receiver group. No, it wasn't Golden who said it. Was it? Wasn't
it's
it
the other
else?
receiver they have. It's or the other running back.
Yeah, and he ran like a 4.41.
Yeah, he ended up getting the fast one.
Matthew Golden ran the 4.29. He was also a wide receiver from Texas, but he didn't open his big mouth before, so it was even more impressive that he did it, I feel like.
No, I think he was the one that said he was going to run the faster one. Hang on, let me find it.
No, it wasn't. Oh, fuck, what's the other guy's name? Isaiah
Bond.
Bond.
Bond is the one that said he was gonna.
And he ran a 4.39, so it was under 4.4, but it was a 4.39.
Yeah, Bond.
James Bond. I feel like the wide receiver drills, like with such inconsistent throwing by the quarterbacks, like that was an issue.
Definitely an issue. Another thing I was watching is the coaches, when they were calling the splits, were definitely giving the signals very late. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, for the receivers?
They kept on running in.
Did you see the offensive line one too, where they were telling them to move too late?
They kept on running into the guy that was giving the signals. They doing the same thing on the receivers.
Yeah, crazy. Like, why are they waiting so long? The offensive line one was hilarious. Rich Eisen's like losing his mind. They're all almost like, the dude's almost getting crushed every time. They're like, keep running. And it's like, if he keeps running, you're dead, dude. Like, what are you doing? Those guys are fucking massive. And he just stood there and like waited. Guys got balls of steel. That's for sure. All right, where are we at? I don't have much on the receiver group. As far as I'm concerned, the Bears are set on receiver. Maybe get a Devontae Adams or something if you can get him.
The one guy I did want to mention was Tez Johnson out of Oregon. 5'10", 154 pounds, ran a 4.51 40-yard dash. All the scouts and everybody was saying that that's embarrassing for his size. It was an extremely slow 40.
Right.
So
that's what I was saying about the 200-pounder. He was flying.
So very underwhelming performance for a receiver that normally showed great hands throughout the entire year, has great route running skills, but just concerns about his size, speed, and agility.
Yeah, he definitely is going to have to come out in that pro day and have a better day for sure. All right. Should we move on to the offensive line? Day 4, last day of the combine, the offensive line. It was the biggest and fastest offensive line ever at the combine. The fastest 40-yard dash was Jared Wilson, center out of Georgia, ran a 4.84. He was one of the top performers I saw on the field, especially when it came to the drills. He can absolutely move out there, get out on the poles. His footwork was awesome. Maybe one of the most athletic players that I saw for the offensive lineman. How about for you? Who was an offensive lineman?
I really like this guy, Armand Membo, out of Missouri. 6'4", 332 pounds, 4.91 40-yard dash. He was moving for his side, had a 34-inch vertical jump, and guy is just a pure athlete. Showed great footwork and drills, great positioning himself as a pass protector, and definitely could elevate himself into a top 10 pick.
I think after the combine, he did the most for himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could definitely go to the Patriots. And I think he's so athletic that as far as a tackle goes, like, I think he can stay at tackle too. I don't think he's going to have to move into guard because his feet can save him against those other athletic defensive linemen. But, yeah, out there in the drills, moving, big man, most athletic one out there for sure. One guy for me that Will Campbell, he looked good in all the drills. He did slip in a couple of them, so it was a little concerning. The first one he slipped, I was like, oh, shit, is that his ACL? I'm like, oh, no. But he was all right. And the big thing about him that still comes into question is his arm length. But he came out the day, like during the interviews, and he was like, I've always had short arms. That's never changed my entire career. It's always been a question. I was perfectly fine at LSU for 3 years, and I am going to continue that into the NFL. So he wants to play tackle, thinks he's going to play tackle. So I did like him. He looks great out there. His footwork's awesome, super athletic, ran a 4.9, so he was moving.
Nice. Another guy I really liked was this Ariante Ursery out of Minnesota. 6'6", 331 pounds. This guy was a monster out there. 5.0 140-yard dash, 1.75 10-yard split, and a 9'3" broad jump.
Whew, 9'3" broad jump for a big ass dude like that.
Absolutely,
Crazy.
and at 6'6", he was definitely one of the bigger offensive linemen out there.
Yeah, massive. Another guy for me was Gray Zabel, North Dakota State. If you remember him at the Senior Bowl, he looked absolutely awesome out there. They came out when I was watching the combine, and they were saying, because if you notice, he had a ton of reps at the Senior Bowl. Like, I felt like he went up against everybody at every position, but they were saying that all the defensive linemen wanted to go up against him because no one could beat him. So they thought if, like, they beat him, they would, like, make them look good. But it ended up, like, no one could beat him. So, but he backed everything up, like, with his drills and his speed at the combine. So I think he's going to be a late first rounder, and I think he's going to be a great interior offensive lineman. Could probably even play center for sure.
One of the things they were saying is that he does look like a very versatile lineman. He could probably fit in at any one of those positions. So good for him.
Yeah, that's what I love about him. Yeah. I really like that Georgia center. Like, I would love for the Bears to take him. But with the moves we made, I'm not really sure what we're going to do in the draft.
Right, you already locked up your two linemen.
I still think...
Still need one more?
Yeah, we locked up our two guards. I still think we take a lineman at 10, though. Because with those two guards, they are one-year deals. So they have 1 year left on their contract. So after next year, you're either going to have to re-sign them or you're going to have to get someone else in there. So I think you definitely take... multiple offensive linemen, two offensive linemen in this draft looking towards the future.
Absolutely. Draft is fast approaching. We're going to get our mock drafts together, see who we will be taking or who we're predicting to be taking.
Right? And it's ever changing because, like, 2 days ago, yesterday morning, the Bears had 0 offensive line except for Darnell Wright. And now we have Darnell Wright, Jonah Jackson, 2-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro or Super Bowl winner, Tooney at guard. So, and with Tooney, it's like he's a 4-time Super Bowl winner, has the experience, and that's exactly what you need in front of fucking Caleb Williams. Like, that's a dream come true for me as a Bears fan.
Absolutely, shoring up that offensive line, really going to make a difference this year. A lot of breaking news came out yesterday and today out of the NFL. Philadelphia Eagles are releasing Pro Bowl cornerback Darius Slay, so look for him to come available. Any free agents looking to shore up that back end of their defense. Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I was kind of reading about that one, and since Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were way ahead of schedule this year for the Eagles, they were able to get rid of Slay and open up some cap space because if you notice, the Eagles have a bunch of very good players that are becoming free agents.
A lot of Super Bowl guys, a lot of those Super Bowl winners that helped contribute to that team. A couple guys on that defensive line that were, Williams and Sweat, that were two big contributors that are both looking.
Sweat,
Williams,
free
I
agents.
think, was the other guy. And let's see what else. We have Cincinnati Bengals have placed the franchise tag on T. Higgins, so now look for them to re-sign Jamar Chase to a big contract.
I feel bad for T. Higgins. 2 years in a row. It's kind of some bullshit, but is what it is. They have the franchise tag for a reason. And
absolutely. Let's not forget that franchise tag is also $37 million, so it's not like he's not getting a bad payday.
Right, but if he gets hurt, he doesn't get anything.
That's the big thing. That's the security.
That's what, the team's fucking him. Like, what? Yeah. I know he's making a lot of money, but, like, to do that 2 years in a row?
New York Jets have announced they are releasing superstar wide receiver Davante Adams, so anybody looking for a Pro Bowl wide receiver to make a difference next year, Davante Adams is your guy.
I'm very I'm very interested to see how much he is going to go for because he did it. Had like a 37 million, 38 million dollar contract, and there is no way he
No.
is making that much again.
Philadelphia Eagles yesterday announced that they are making Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in the league, giving him a 2-year, $41.2 million contract.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely, especially with the whole fiasco of the Giants last year releasing him, saying nobody will ever pay this guy, and congratulations, Saquon Barkley, you have now been paid.
He's getting paid, and because of that fiasco on Hard Knocks, they will not be doing an off-season one because no NFL team will agree to do it.
Funny story with that is that they actually offered it to UNC and Bill Belichick, but after further consideration, they are also turning it down.
They could not agree to.
Let's see. Surprising news out of Cincinnati. 29-year-old defensive end Sam Hubbard has announced his retirement.
See ya. Maybe that'll free up some space so they can sign Hendrickson.
Hopefully, Trey Hendrickson, definitely the better defensive end out of the two. And out of Seattle, two of their star wide receivers, DK Metcalf has requested a trade, no longer wants to be with them, wants to move to a contender. He has 1 year left on his contract.
Like the Bears?
We'll just glaze over that one. The Seattle Seahawks.
We're closer today than we were 2 days ago. Maybe. I know that.
The Seattle Seahawks are releasing star wide receiver Tyler Lockett. After 10 long seasons in Seattle, he is looking for a new team.
Yeah. Can I just say, like, how fucking awesome the NFL offseason is? Because, like, the regular season fucking sucked this year, and then, like, you get the offseason, dude.
Not just that, it all just starts to come flying.
Like,
Once these dates start hitting, everything just comes flying.
Dog, it, like, boom. Dog, it doesn't sleep. The NFL.
And then, of course, for our teams, news for us, Chicago Bears signing 2 offensive guards.
Yeah, Jonah Jackson from the Los Angeles Rams, which he played with Ben Johnson. Love that they're reunited. He's athletic. He can get out and move. And then today we traded for Joe Thuney from the Kansas City Chiefs, 2 times All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl winner, drafted by the New England Patriots in 2016. So he's on the last year of his 5-year, $80 million deal, so we're due to pay $16 million next year for him. But the Bears had over $90 million in cap space, so even with those 2 signings, we still got around $60 million left. So still got moves that can be made, and I'm excited for free agency.
And then breaking news out of Las Vegas, superstar defensive end Mad Max Crosby has signed a 3-year, $106.5 million extension, making him the highest paid non-QB in the NFL. What a day.
I mean, they needed to do that. I love that.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, coming out, offensive guard Alex Kappa, formerly with the Cincinnati Bengals, signing a deal with the Las Vegas Raiders, shoring up that offensive line.
Oh, nice. That's a good pickup.
It just came in. Deal details haven't been released. Literally just came in.
Just now came in. Nice. Hell yeah. Come on, Shefty.
Oh, Eagles are re-signing Zach Braun. $51 million, 3-year, $51 million contract.
I kind of figured that would happen. That's a lot of money. Did you know he only made $5 million last year?
So from a 5, oh wow.
And like Becton too was on like a 1-year deal for like
So it's going
shit. That's why they were so good. So like you got to go out and you got to get some of these guys that like are still hungry to win, and I don't know.
I'm just surprised like they're having to pick and choose. So they're picking Braun over Sweat. They're picking. Yeah.
I mean, they have Jalen Carter, so I'm taking Braun over Sweat for sure. The only reason Sweat was so good was because Jalen Carter got double, triple teamed.
But then it also feels like they're picking Carter over Williams because Williams is also due. So it just feels like they're picking their guys. Yeah.
I mean, you have to. Yeah, like, especially after you win the Super Bowl, because all those dudes want money that are free agents. They're now Super Bowl winners. They're going to require more money.
Hey,
So.
free agency has started. Teams are signing players left and right. We're going to be pumped for Friday.
It hasn't started. These are all trades. Right?
What?
Aren't these all like trades?
No,
the
Kappa
one's
not a trade.
right?
Yeah.
Because he got released. All right. Well, I got to sign off because I got to go get Junior from school. So that's a wrap for this Combine recap. Combine was fucking awesome. I watched almost every drill, every 40. Cool to see. Might try and go next year because it's in Indiana. So that will be cool to see live for sure.
Absolutely. Fucking great day of football. Good to see fans in there on Saturday. And right?
It was a packed house.
The funny part when
awesome.
Will Howard was throwing, you could tell how many Ohio State fans were in the building.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he had a terrible day, but the best part is that like they were booing the wide receivers because like they were dropping the ball. So it's like it was his fucking fault.
Catch the ball. Terrible day.
Fun draft fun combine.
Right. All right. Well, we're gonna try and get back on later this week, maybe Friday, and get some free agent lists going, what the top free agents are, maybe their landing spots, and any other news that is going to be popping up because the news cycle just doesn't end. I thought there'd be breaks in this, and they're like, there's not really many breaks this time of year. I know. I'm thinking we're going to have to wait till like after the draft because there aren't going to be many roster moves or anything like that. But like with all the roster moves in this offseason, like,
oh yeah,
you got to be on top of this shit for sure. All right. Well, Johnny Schefter, keep up the good work. If you notice on the Instagram, all the breaking news is being posted, so keep up with that. And then,
next time.
Till next time.
Go Raiders.
Go Bears.